to be bringing this to you. A little bit nervous as well, because this is something completely out of my comfort zone that I've never done before. But it's great to be working with you today on this lovely sunny day. So what I would like you to do is, if you are watching live, if you can want to comment in the comment box as to who you are, how old you are, maybe what school you go to, and I'll try and give you a shout out somewhere in the session today. I might even direct some questions at you. So the process of our session today is that I'm going to be reading a story to you. The story that I've chosen is called Mirette on the High Wire. It's one that I use in schools quite a lot to talk about growth mindset and develop growth mindset in children. So we're going to be reading the story. We're going to be doing a bit of silly drama, and we're also going to be asking you some questions. And obviously those questions, if you're watching live, you can type into the comments again and tell me what you think the answers are. There's no right or wrong answer. It's just purely on what you think. And then at the end, I'm going to talk about maybe a follow-up activity that you might like to do in between all your English, maths and whatever else you're doing that's been sent home from school. So a nice little chill out activity that you can do as well. So shall we get started with Mirette and the High Wire? So our story today, Mirette on the High Wire, and this is by Emily Arnold McCulley. 100 years ago in Paris, when theatres and music halls drew travelling players from all over the world, the best place to stay was at Madame Gâteau's, a boarding house on English Street. Acrobats and jugglers, actors and mimes from as far away as Moscow and New York would recline on the feather mattresses and devour her kidney stews. Madame Gâteau worked hard to make her guests comfortable, and so did her daughter Mirette. The girl was an expert at washing linens, chopping leeks, paring potatoes, and mopping floors. Anyone else been mopping floors while we've been off? I know I have. She was also a good listener. Nothing pleased her more than to overhear the vagabond players tell of their adventures in this town and that along the road. One evening, a tall, sad-faced stranger arrived. He told Madame Gâteau that his name was Bellini, a retired high-wire walker. "I'm here for a rest," he said. "Ooh, Bellini," I love that name. Can you say it with me? Bellini in your best accent. What I want you to do with Bellini, as loud as you can every time you hear me say it, just so I can hear you over here in Rosendale, is you're going to say, "Ooh la la," like a real French person. Okay, so we'll have a bit of a practice. I'll see if I can hear you. So when I say the word Bellini, you're going to say, "Ooh," I heard a few of you then. Maybe a bit louder next time. So remember, every time I say the word Bellini, I want you to say, "Ooh la la," like a real French person. Okay, let's carry on with our story. "I have just the room for you, Monsieur Bellini." "In the back where it's quiet," she said, "but it's on the ground floor with no view." "Perfect," said the stranger. "I'll take my meals alone." The next afternoon, when Mirette came from the sheets, there was a stranger crossing the courtyard on the air. Mirette was enchanted. Of all the things a person could do, this must be the most magical. Her feet tingled as if they wanted to jump up on the wire beside Bellini. Mirette worked up the courage to speak. "Excuse me, Monsieur Bellini. I want to learn to do that," she cried. Bellini sighed. "That would not be a good idea," he said. "Once you start, your feet are never happy again on the ground." "Oh, please teach me," Mirette begged. "My feet are already unhappy on the ground." But he shook his head. Mirette watched him. Every day, he'd slide his feet onto the wire, cast his eyes ahead, and cross without ever looking down, as if in a trance. Finally, she couldn't resist any longer. Okay, here's our first bit of drama. I think we can have a go at practicing being Bellinis. So I need you up on your feet. And we're going to have a practice at walking along the tightrope just like Bellini. Now you just stretch your hands out really wide and one foot in front of the other. Don't look down, don't look at the side, don't look at the screen. One foot in front of the other. Careful not to wobble too much, maybe just bend your knees a little bit. Can you get across that wire? Just like Bellini. Looks like we're doing a really good job. Okay, let's set yourself back down. Let's find out what happens next with Mirette. When Bellini was gone, she jumped up on the wire to try it herself. Her arms flayed around like windmills, and in a moment she was back on the ground. Bellini made it look so easy. Surely she could do it too if she kept trying. Okay, I want you to have a little think now for me. So have a think about what you would do. You tried something that was really quite tricky, and are you going to go get back up? Are you going to try again? Are you going to give up? Are you going to go home? Are you going to get cross? What would you do if you were Mirette at this moment in time on that tightrope? Type in your answers and let us know. See if anything comes through. Oh, I can see that Rhiannon's doing lots of ooh la las in her house. That's great. Hi, Rhiannon and her children. Nice to have you on board. Okay, let's get back to our story. In 10 tries, she balanced on one foot for a few seconds. In a day, she managed 3 steps without wavering until finally, after a whole week of many, many falls, she walked the length of the wire. After a whole week, so she was practicing for ages and ages. She couldn't wait to show Bellini. He was silent for a long time and he said, "In the beginning, everyone falls. Most people give up, but you kept trying." "Oh, thank you," said Mirette. She got up 2 hours earlier every day to finish her chores before the sun shone in the courtyard. The rest of the day was for lessons and practice. Bellini was strict. "Never let your eyes stray," he told her day after day. "Think only of the wire and of crossing to the end." But so far, she's shown loads of resilience, hasn't she? By getting up really early, loads of dedication, getting up to make sure that she doesn't miss her practice. And she's practicing over and over and over again. Impressive. When she could cross dozens of times without falling, he taught her the wire walker salute. Show me your best salutes, everybody. Some good ones there. She learned to run, to lie down, and turn a somersault. Now show me your best somersaults. No, don't show me your best somersaults. Mums and dads will have a nervous breakdown. "I'll never fall again," Mirette said. "Don't boast," Bellini said so sharply that Mirette lost her balance and had to jump down. I wonder why Bellini, ooh la la, said that to Mirette. Why did he tell her not to boast? Let's have your answers in the comments box. I'm just going to go back and have a look at what things we've got coming up. Oh, I can see the Woolston home household are with us. Nice to have you with us. And they are saying that they would definitely be trying again if they fell off the wire, which is lovely. So they're going to keep going. And we've got Naomi Challenger as well. She's saying that she learned that she needed a lot of resilience and a lot of practice when she was learning to swim because she didn't like it, but she knew that she had to make mistakes, and now she actually loves swimming. So that's really good. So let's have some answers to that other question that I've just asked. So why do you think Bellini said to Mirette, "Don't boast"? So she was on the wire, never going to fall off again, look at me. Why did he say not to boast? That's an interesting one. We'll come back to the answers that you give in just a second. Let's get back to our story. One night, an agent from Ashley's Hippodrome in London rented a room. He noticed Bellini on his way to dinner. "What a shock to see him here!" he exclaimed. "See who?" asked a mime. "Why, the great Bellini. Didn't you know he was in the room at the back?" "Bellini, the one who crossed Niagara Falls on a 1,000-foot wire in 10 minutes?" asked the mime. "And on his way back, he stopped in the middle to cook an omelette on a stove full of live coals, and he opened a bottle of champagne and he toasted the crowd," the agent recalled. "My uncle used to talk about that," said a juggler. "Bellini crossed the Alps with baskets tied to his feet, fired a cannon over the bull ring in Barcelona, and walked a flaming wire wearing a blindfold in Naples. The man has the nerves of an iceberg," the agent said. Mirette raced to Bellini's room. "Is it true?" she cried. "You did all those things? Why didn't you tell me? I want to do them too. I want to go with you." "I can't take you," explained Bellini. "But why not?" asked Mirette. Bellini hesitated for a long time. "Because I'm afraid," he said at last. Mirette was astonished. "Afraid?" she said. "But why?" "Once you have a fear on the wire, it never leaves," Bellini said. "But you must make it leave," Mirette insisted. "I cannot," said Bellini. "Oh, interesting. So Bellini's been this amazing high rope walker for many, many years, doing incredible things, and now he's actually scared of the wire. So what advice would you give to Bellini at this moment in time? If you were Mirette, what would you say to her to tell Bellini? What would your message be to make him feel unafraid again?" So remember, type in your answers and we'll have a look at what answers you come up with, and I'll talk about those in a minute. Okay, we'll move on. Mirette turned and ran to the kitchen as tears sprang to her eyes. She'd felt such joy on the wire, but now Bellini's fear was like a cloud, casting its black shadow on all she'd learned from him. So now we can see here that Bellini has actually had an effect on Mirette's mindset in some ways, because he's afraid. She's now thinking, well, do I need to be afraid as well? That's really interesting. Bellini paced his room for hours. It felt terrible to disappoint Mirette. By dawn, he knew that if he didn't face his fear at last, he could not face Mirette. He knew what he must do. The question was, could he succeed? Ooh, I wonder what Bellini's going to do here in this moment. Do you think he's going to get back on that wire? Do you think he's going to run away? What's Bellini thinking? What's his idea? And will he succeed? That night when the agent returned, Bellini was waiting for him. The agent listened to Bellini's plan with mounting excitement. "I'll take care of it," he promised. To himself, he added, "A big crowd will make me a tidy profit. What luck! I just happen to be in Paris right now." Bellini went out to find a length of hemp with a steel core. He borrowed a winch and worked until daylight, securing the wire. The next evening, Mirette heard the commotion in the street. "Go and see what it is," her mother said. "Maybe it will cheer you up." In the square was a hubbub. The crowd was so thick she couldn't see at first that the agent was aiming a spotlight at the sky. "Return of the great Bellini," he was yelling. Could it be? Mirette's heart hammered in his chest. Bellini stepped out onto the wire and saluted the crowd. He took a step, but then he froze. The crowd cheered wildly, but something was wrong. Mirette knew at once what it was. For a moment, she was as frozen as Bellini was. Can you do your best freeze pose? Now show me your frightened faces. Okay, but then she threw herself at the door behind her and ran inside, up flight after flight of stairs and out through a skylight to the roof. She stretched her hand towards Bellini, and he smiled. He started to walk towards her. She stepped out onto the wire, and with the most intense pleasure, as she had always imagined it to be, she started to cross the sky. "Bravo! Bravo!" roared the crowd. "Protégé of the great Bellini," said the agent. He was beside himself, already planning the world tour of Bellini and Mirette. As for the master and his pupil, they were thinking only of the wire and of crossing to the end. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed my story. I'm just going to pick up on a few comments that have come up while we've been watching. And Holly Wolstenholme has said that you don't need to be afraid if you're going to have another go. So you'll soon get over your fear. That's really good advice, Holly. So thank you very much. So an interesting story about someone that was pretty good at something, a skill that they had perfected almost and done amazing things with, but then suddenly got a fear. And then a young girl who was determined, wanted to practice, was inspired by Bellini to become as good as he was. And actually, what I learned in the end there was she helped him because for a time he was scared and he was worried, and that's okay. And it's okay for you to help people when they're feeling like that and offer your support, and that's what Mirette did. She offered to help him. She went up on the wire with him to support him, and that made him feel better, which was a really lovely thing for her to do. So I loved that. So what did you learn from the story? What messages did you take away from it? Or what things are you going to remember next time you find something difficult? What are you going to remember next time when you find something scary? I'd love to know what you're thinking. I will going to talk about what else I've got for you that you might want to do now with that story. I'm just going to go and grab it. You might be able to see here in the back, I've just made some bunting to go on my mantelpiece here. So I'm going to grab it so you can just see it a little bit clearer. So this bunting, I actually printed off from Twinkle, and Twinkle at the moment is free. And you can download loads of lovely things for you to do to keep you busy while you're at home. And this I put onto cardboard. It's just a plain template for bunting. And on here, I've just put myself some messages, really, things that I'm going to remember next time I'm scared, or I'm going to remember next time I'm stuck with something. So I've got on here, keep trying. I've got a don't give up. What else have I got? Stick with it. I've also got believe. So believe that you can actually do it. Work hard. So you're going to have to put some effort in. And the last one, you can. So that might just be a little idea for you to do. Hang it up in your bedroom, around your mirror, around your bed, around your window, and you can decorate them however you want. Now, like I say, I downloaded mine off the Twinkle website and printed it onto card. You can create your own. You can do it on paper. You can do it with fabric. You can do it with card, whatever you've got lying around the house. And I've just picked up a bit of string to attach it on. Okay, so that might just keep you busy after reading that story. And just a little reminder for yourself that these messages to keep you inspired and keep that growth mindset growing and staying positive. Okay, so I hope that's given you a lovely idea to do. So thank you for joining me. It's been lovely talking to you. And next week, it's Lizzie's turn. Lizzie's going to be not here in Rosendale. She'll be in Bury, but she's going to be doing her story session. So it'll be lovely to have you on board for that. And if you have enjoyed this session, don't forget you can get loads and loads of other bits and pieces from our website as well. They're all free for you to download. So our website is www.growyourmindset.co.uk/free-resources, and that will take you to everything that's free that you can print off at home. But also right at the bottom of that page is some other links to some stories, to some songs, and to some videos. So there's loads of stuff on there, and if you go on there and you do anything, put it onto social media or Facebook, or tag us in, because we'd love to see what you're getting up to as well. That'd be lovely. So thank you once again for joining us, and I'm going to say bye to Naomi and Holly, who have been involved in this chat all the way through. Thank you for your involvement, girls. It's been lovely to have you with me. And absolutely, Holly, I've just seen your comment come up that you've learned about don't give up. And another phrase that she's got here is I can't do it yet. Absolutely bear those things in mind. So maybe, Holly, those could be bits to go on your bunting if you're going to have a go at making that at some point. Lovely to see you all, and I hope to see you again soon. Tatty bye.